Hey everybody, it's Allie and welcome to our Y&R chat for Sunday, November 13th, 2016. I know what Billy and Victoria's little daughter's birthday theme should be. It should be magic. Because Billy is a freaking magician, okay? Billy is making Travis disappear from Victoria's life before our very eyes. He is good. And I tell you, Jason Thompson is good. That actor is earning his stripes with me this week. It's good acting. It's good writing. He's funny. He's charming. He's sneaky. It's just all so good. I really feel like watching Billy being manipulative and watching Travis unravel was a really good way to end the week. I found it very entertaining. Billy knows exactly which buttons to push on Travis because he's been in this position. He knows what it's like to be the man in Victoria's life. So he's pushing all of those buttons that he knows and can identify with, and he has no problem doing it whatsoever. Travis's insecurity and Travis's issue is all about the fact that you're either a Newman or you're not. You're either on the inside or you're not. And any assumption that you might have that you are on the inside of the Newman clan is just an illusion. Who knows that better than Billy? And he is all too happy to exploit it to his own benefits. I think that in part, Billy wants Travis out of the picture because of his kids. He doesn't want this guy living with Victoria and being around and involved in his kids' lives when he would rather be the one there. But I think it's in part that he's starting to raise an eyebrow at the idea of getting back together with Victoria. We know as fans, we can see clear as day as fans that the writing is on the wall, my friends. Billy is outsmarting Travis to get him out of the way, and he is going to be all too happy to pick up the pieces of Victoria's life when she finds out about all of the mess, and when Travis and his good looks and his beautiful smile, when all of that glitter starts to fade, Billy is going to be there to pick up those pieces. And how could Victoria resist Billy's two-headed coin trick charm? I mean, it's impossible, right? It's exactly why she fell for him in the first place. How could she resist his Christopher Walken impersonation? Which I will admit was pretty good and pretty charming. I mean, is everybody else loving Jason Thompson this week? I don't even care that he's not the same Billy that we're used to. He's evolving it to a new place. I really think he's adding this sense of humor to the role that needs to be there and is actually really charming in and of itself, and also with Victoria. I'm not gonna lie, I think that there were some sparks flying there this week. So Billy is completely working the angle of getting back into Victoria's life for one reason or another, and then working the other angle to break up Victoria and Travis is Michelle. So Michelle, the soon-to-be ex-wife of the boss that caused the big scandal in Travis's life, she just happens to be back in Genoa City, and she wants Travis back, and she has impeccable timing. This is the perfect time for her to be walking onto the scene. Travis is insecure. Travis is feeling isolated, and he's also feeling defeated. He has tried so very hard to fit into Victoria's world, and it's just not working out. And even though he sees Michelle for the first time in a long time, he has this interaction with her where she tells him that she wants him back. He is able to muster still his love for Victoria and and his commitment to her and tell Michelle, no, I don't want to go backwards. I want to go forwards. I am in love with someone and it's just not going to work out between us. So he completely shuts down her advances, but then he goes to the underground, lets Noah pour him a few drinks while he is bemoaning that whole situation, bemoaning the whole situation with work and with Victor and everything he's feeling. He gets a little bit lit drinking those shots. He goes home where he finds Billy there once again. He blows up at Billy. He ends up making himself look like a jerk. I mean, it's like walking into a trap. He might as well, like Billy might as well have just lured Travis into a crate, closed the box, and then mailed him off to Abu Dhabi like he's normal. It's like a Garfield and normal type situation. And Travis just walks so willingly and so dumbly into it. He just doesn't see how the trap has been set for him, and it's just played beautifully on Billy's part. I mean, Travis looks like a drunk guy coming home, starting arguments with his significant other, and Victoria is understandably pissed that Travis would come home drunk and cause this scene. So she calls him a car, sends him away. Where I start to part ways with Victoria's logic is when she sends Travis away and then goes and sits down with Billy and begins talking, he just listens. Billy just plays it just perfectly, acts like he doesn't know exactly what's going on. I mean, at every step of the way that Billy has poked and prodded at Travis, he's made himself look like the hero, and he's downplayed the role that he is actually having in making all of Travis's little strings come loose. And Victoria just plays right into it as well, sits down next to Billy and starts to complain about Travis, and she actually says to Billy, "Oh, Travis is being so immature. Of course he thinks of me like I'm being like his mother, but it's because he's acting so immature." What? Are you really talking to Billy Abbott about this? You're telling Billy Abbott that Travis is being so immature? Are you kidding me? Does Billy have some kind of like magic mist that he is spraying onto Victoria that has made her forget nearly the past decade of her life? I mean, Billy Abbott is the very definition of immature. It's not as if he's never come home drunk. It's not as if she hasn't been dealing with his boyish crap, for so long. And now all of a sudden, it's charming and Travis is the bad guy. Oh, I feel mixed, to be entirely honest with you, because the thing is, I honestly do love Travis and Victoria being together. I think that they made a really good couple, and there's a part of me that thinks, why can't this work? What's the real problem between this couple? Why doesn't Travis just quit his job at Newman Enterprises? He didn't really feel that enthusiastic about taking it in the first place. Obviously, now he's realized that everything he's done at Newman is just Victor's test. He's never going to be on the inside. Victor's never going to fully trust him. So why keep the job? Why stay there when it's obviously causing a wedge in your relationship? Why not just try to get back to basics and fix whatever the problem is with Victoria? Because I, for the life of me, can't entirely figure out what the problem is. It's very sad, because I think that they would make a good couple. They have made a good couple. I love Travis. I've made no secret about the fact that I just think he is so sexy and so I find him charming. And so therefore I'm gonna make excuses excuses for him as much as I want to. Damn it. I just think he's adorable. I like seeing him around, and I would prefer him to be with Victoria as opposed to having him with Abby, honestly, or even this new Michelle character. Oh Lord. Travis, I'm probably being misted by Travis, to be honest with you. He's blinded me with his adorableness, but it was hard to watch him turn around after being sent away by Victoria and going directly to Michelle's hotel room. I mean, he didn't waste any time whatsoever. Victoria sends him away, and the first place he goes is all drunk to Michelle's hotel room door, where she opens it up. She happens to be conveniently dressed in a towel. Oh, oh, I wasn't expecting you. And he goes into the room, and I think it was in a preview for next week's show that we see him kissing her. Man, I'm disappointed in you, Travis. I wanted him to be the bigger guy. I hope that he doesn't go all the way and have sex with her, because that's going to get all over the place. I mean, she's not going to keep that quiet. She's probably going to tell Ashley, and then Ashley's going to tell Abby, and then Abby's going to feel obliged to tell Victoria or whatever. The whole if he goes through with having sex with her, that secret is going to be out. It's going to be the end of his relationship with Victoria, and she'll probably turn around and say, "Oh, Billy, can you believe that Travis cheated on me?" When Billy cheated on you too. Sorry to burst the bubble, Victoria, but Billy is not a saint. He had an affair with Kelly while you were both grieving Delia's death. So let's not pretend that Billy is the answer. But it is interesting to think back now to that scene where Billy and Travis, I think it was a very kind of pivotal moment for this storyline in particular, where they both got arrested, and all of a sudden we started as the audience getting little hints of, hey, maybe Billy and Travis are enemies, but maybe they're way more alike than we ever would have known, I think, or that we ever would have guessed. And I kind of think that maybe that's where YNR is headed now. Maybe that's just Victoria's type or something, but it's clear that that's kind of how the story has turned. I think the other thing that is happening here is very storyline driven, because to me, Billy's job is to break up Victoria and Travis. He's not even thinking about Phyllis at this point. I think he's friendly with her, but obviously the writers have decided that the Billy and Phyllis affair is over. They've decided to make all of the cutesy scenes go to Billy and Victoria. So there is obviously a push to get Billy and Victoria back together, and I think that Michelle's job is to serve as an interim love interest while Abby's divorce is being finalized. That's just my prediction. I feel like you guys are seeing it too. We're seeing a lot of Abby being in at Newman Enterprises, and she's walking out of a door as Travis is walking in the door. I mean, there's just a lot more interaction between Abby and Travis. And as we chatted about last week, a very astute chatter picked up on this, the fact that Abby is the one who's filing for divorce against Stitch, kind of allows Ashley and Stitch to start gravitating toward one another guilt-free. I think that's the trajectory that we're headed for that story set. And I think that Michelle is there to be Travis's rebound girl so that Abby can hook up with her sister's ex guilt-free a couple of weeks or months or whatever down the road. That's my prediction. I don't have any doubt about it. I don't know if you guys have any alternative theories on that. The only thing that doesn't entirely make sense to me in that scenario is if being on the outside of the whole Newman clan is what is Travis's real problem in his relationship with Victoria, then why would he just trade one Victor Newman daughter for another? As promised, Nick came right back to Dylan and Sharon's house the very next morning to come claim his son, and it was absolutely heartbreaking, heart-wrenching. Dylan and Sharon are now in this position of having no choice but to turn over the child and to say their goodbyes. It's all been so quick. I mean, Sharon didn't really say a goodbye. I suppose, in a way, the last several months of her scrambling ever since Sage died and finding out about Sully's paternity has been, in a way, a long goodbye for Sharon. But Dylan has had absolutely no time to process this. It's been less than 24 hours, and now he's having to turn over a son who he has believed with, of course, all his heart is his, to another man. And it's just seeing him sitting there holding Sully and trying to process his own feelings while saying a goodbye to the child and wanting a transition for the child it was just so hard to watch. When Dylan said, he said, Nick's a good guy, he's gonna be good to you, and when really we're just trading places. Uncle Nick's gonna become dad and I'm gonna become Uncle Dylan. That I didn't really even totally think of that, but that was such intuitive writing right there. It didn't occur to me ever that really, truly, Dylan can still have a role in Christian's life. Dylan is still his uncle, while Sharon, on the other hand, is nothing. Sharon is now nothing to that child. She is going to be completely pushed to the side, no role whatsoever. I mean, they did try to fight a little bit for like a shared custody arrangement, and Nick was absolutely not having it. There's a part of me that was watching thinking, I can't believe that Dylan and Sharon are just handing over their son with, at least without a DNA test. Everybody kind of took all of this for Sharon and Patty's word. They all took it as gospel when they didn't really do anything to fact check this. I probably would not just hand over my son without doing a little research. But it just seems like even at the idea of that, it was Chelsea who jumped in and said, oh, no, we don't want a DNA test. That's not necessary. I think Chelsea and Victor both don't want that because they don't want anything to get shaken loose that's going to cause any more trouble. But I mean, in general, I have to say this was a good week watching the whole fallout of, or at least the next chapter of the fallout in the paternity reveal. To me, this was the week for Dylan McAvoy. I cannot tell you how much I appreciated Steve Burton's performance, how much I now am lamenting the fact that he is going to be leaving the show. It actually did not occur to me that Y&R might even attempt to recast Dylan's character. In my mind, I completely assumed that Steve Burton's gone. That means Dylan's going to be gone, and I'm still sort of in that mindset. I haven't heard anything about a recast, so I feel like I'm mourning the loss of the actor. I'm mourning the situation that the character is finding himself in. I mean, when Dylan was tearing through Sully's nursery, and Sharon's in the background trying so hard to present her side of the situation, explain herself to him, and Dylan is just shouting out, Sully, don't call him Sully, his name's not Sully, it's Christian. Sully never existed. Oh, Sully never existed. Can you imagine having to tell yourself that your son was never even real? It was so incredible. Stevie Burton was incredible. I mean, the dynamics in that household, ooh, it's real sticky, it's real sad, it's real severe. Dylan ends up leaving the house. He says, I'm sorry, I cannot be here right now. Dylan and Sharon end up having this really big but honest blow up at the batting cage of all places. It was such an odd scene. I think I keep sensing that Y&R is trying to be more topical. In my mind, they were at the batting cages in an attempt to be like World Series topical, since that just happened. It was such a out of left field kind of scene to have. And I mean, even just watching him hitting those balls and Sharon standing behind the cages, I thought it visually was really interesting to see Sharon behind those bars, kind of knowing and speculating what might happen to her. It was an interesting way or an interesting, I guess, continuation of their argument to happen. They do end up coming back home, and the arguing continues. Dylan actually suggested that Sharon might need to commit herself to Fairview or to a mental institution in order to avoid prosecution for this. I would be really surprised if that ended up happening. I mean, it's certainly possible. There could be a huge push to get Sharon to go to jail, or for Christine to prosecute her. Apparently it is kidnapping. I suppose that does make sense. And once the general public finds out, it's possible that there's going to be pressure on the police to arrest Sharon. As soon as Dylan had suggested that Sharon would commit herself, I thought to myself first, well, I don't see how that would help her avoid prosecution. You can't go to jail if you're in a mental institution. That doesn't entirely add up for me. But then I thought, wouldn't it be kind of interesting to see, at least just for a week, if Sharon ended up in a padded cell right next to Patty? I can kind of see that happening, and maybe that is where Y&R is going with it. Sharon immediately shut down the idea. I am not ever going back to a mental institution. The fact that I was at Fairview in the first place was what caused this whole thing. She's had nothing but bad experiences with babies in mental institutions, so she's not about to go back there. She shut it down immediately, and now we're just kind of left with Sharon and also Dylan specifically trying to figure out how they're going to put together the pieces of a life that has been absolutely blown apart, and the pieces of a relationship that might not be sustainable moving forward. The fact that the news is slowly leaking out to the family and beyond is also not helping the wounds heal any quicker. It was hard to watch Sharon and Dylan have to have this conversation with Faith. Your brother, who you thought was your brother, is still your brother technically, but he's not going to be living here with us. He's going with Nick, and Faith, in her little mind, cannot possibly fathom how this could happen. You would imagine, though, that at a certain point, Faith is going to become old. This is all going to be old hat. She's just gonna know that scandal follows her family wherever, and wherever they go, she'll end up getting used to it. But it was very hard for Faith to understand. Faith runs to Nick looking for some kind of further explanation, some way to make this all make sense, because Sharon doesn't deny that she knew it for the past couple of months. So Sharon is being very honest about it, and Nick was actually very, very gracious about Sharon having done this, because Faith questioned that with Nick, and he said, he said, your mom's a good person, or I don't remember specifically what his reasoning was, but I've noticed or I noticed that he was just really, really sensitive towards Sharon, and he wasn't trying to cause any more damage, because he's in a position where he really could go out of his way to get revenge on Sharon, or to, and I think he just knows that it would make things worse. Likewise, it's time to tell the grandparents. I mean, Paul needs to know, Nikki needs to know, Victor needs to know, the siblings need to know. I really liked and was moved by the scene and series of scenes actually between Dylan and Paul. It was really hard for Dylan to have to break Paul's heart and break the news to him that this is not his grandson, that Sully never existed, and for Paul to hear that and to just take it all in and to try to be there to support his son, it was just a very moving and subtle scene. I mean, those two guys are not big blow up kind of guys. The reactions that they had were much more subtle and just played smaller in the face, and it's just I really connected in with it. I really connected with Paul going to Nick kind of on Dylan's behalf to say, please don't keep Christian away from Dylan. Dylan is a victim in this too, which honestly I didn't feel like Paul was pushing for any kind of shared custody. I'm not sure that anybody expects a shared custody arrangement, Dylan or Sharon, but I didn't think that Dylan and Sharon suggesting that maybe they do something to help transition Christian into Nick's home was wildly out of line. I think that it would make sense to not just rip the baby from one place to the next, although I'm sure that actually happens in a lot of instances where children get taken away from their families, but I could kind of at least see the merit in finding a way to slowly transition, but Nick was not having it. He I don't think Nick is going to go out of his way to make an enemy out of Dylan, but I don't think he's going to play any more games. Nick is just done with all of that. The best part, though, of the reveal of the week and everybody else finding out was Nikki finding out. Nick begged her, okay, not to make some big deal about this. Don't take this out on Sharon. Let's just keep it kind of low key. Let's keep it under wraps. It is what it is. And Nikki did not hear it. Oh, no, no, no. Nikki just grabbed her coat, grabbed her bag, marched right over to Sharon's house, got up in her face. I mean, Nikki was like a dog with a bone. She was like, I just can't, she couldn't help herself from gnawing on it. Oh, Sharon has deceived both of my sons. She deceived Nick and Dylan at the same time. You don't think I'm gonna go get up in her face? It was awesome. It erupted into this good old-fashioned soapy smash fest where both Nikki and Sharon threw something at each other. I mean, it was so great. It was classic. It was glorious. I mean, it was great and fun for the audience just seeing those two together, and I love the way they quip at each other. There's so much history there, and I mean, the digs they got in were good. What did Sharon said? Oh, please, or she said something like, "Don't talk to me about marriage, Nikki. Your marriage to Victor is a decades-long mind game, and that's all." Oh, that was so good. It's just such a great opportunity that these women have to just get it out. It was a fun fight, and I bet the actresses had a blast doing that, because I know that Sharon Case and Melody Thomas Scott are actually really good friends in real life, and so I think they enjoy having scenes together, and it showed. It was fun. I'm glad, though, that at least finding out about this whole mess did not drive Nikki to drink. Because when she went into Victor's office and thought she was going to tell him something he didn't know, I thought to myself, oh, is she drunk? Please tell me she's not drunk, because she seemed a little slurry. I'm just going to keep my fingers crossed that Nikki can stay on the wagon, at least for now, or at least until she finds out that Victor was lying to her. Again, Victor, of course, pretends that he didn't know anything about this whole paternity thing. This is the first he's hearing about it. Once again, he just plays dumb. Doesn't want to do anything else to shake any more information loose, which is suspicious to me, by the way. You would think that Victor would be all on board to like get the full truth out there and really rub salt in Sharon's wound, and instead he's hanging back a little bit, and that makes me suspicious of him. He goes to Nick's house and yet again playing dumb, pretending like he didn't know. There was a really interesting and kind of unexpected blow up as Summer and Noah are also at Nick's house at the same time, where Noah just lets Victor have it. I mean, I think Noah is in that Mariah situation where your mother has done something horrible and you love her still and you understand her because she's your mother and you want to defend her, even though everyone else in the world is sharpening their knives, and Noah just was not going to take it from Victor. There was a little follow-up scene, by the way, I think on Friday's show, where Noah and Summer kind of talked it out a little bit, noting that Summer has a mother who does crazy things too. So it was interesting that Y&R decided to bring Noah back and really kind of bring it all full circle. But I loved the blow up where Noah told Victor what he thought of him, and then following up, Victor has his moment alone with Nick and with Christian, where I know you caught it. I know you know what I'm about to say, because as soon as it happened, I gasped. I was talking out loud to myself. Sometimes I think it'd be funny to hear the audio, just the audio alone of me watching Y&R. But I know that it was like a whole community of Y&R fans going, oh, as Victor is looking at Christian, picking him up, talking about all the things he's gonna do with his grandson someday, including taking him to the City of Lights, to Paris. And when Nick questions Victor about why he wants to take Christian to Paris, Victor's response is, "It just feels right." Yes, Y&R fans, I know we all caught it, and I know we're all connecting it, and we're all wondering, is there any chance that Adam is alive, well, in Paris, and Victor damn well knows it? That is a good darn question, I tell ya. I wonder if there's any chance that Adam is staying away from Genoa City, either voluntarily or not voluntarily, to avoid prosecution for everything or avoid being in jail. I mean, he was gonna run. Maybe Victor and Adam's plan went through as planned. Chloe only thinks she killed him. Maybe Victor got him out of that cabin, rescued him before the whole thing blew up, and now Adam is in hiding somewhere. I know we were all thinking it. If Adam is alive, that is going to have to play into this whole paternity thing, and I think it's an important piece that needs to be addressed. So I really hope that Y&R has a plan for Adam. I hope they either, recast him or, whatever, just recast him. We need Adam. We don't need it to be super complicated, but I understand it takes time. It's probably not an easy role to cast, but we need Adam to help facilitate the rest of this paternity storyline. Now, speaking of that, we had a poll question last week, which was, assuming that Adam is dead, because at this point we can't do anything but that, who should have primary custody of Christian? I thought the votes were going to be a little bit more split than they were, but 63% of you said Nick. Let Nick raise Christian. The surprising thing for me, though, was that Sharon got the second most amount of votes, 22%. I assumed that Y&R fans would have thought that Sharon should just completely stay away from the child, but there was definitely a 22% of you who felt like Sharon still deserved and should have an active role in Christian's life, and then we had 15% of you saying it should be Chelsea, with 0% saying Dylan. See, it's so odd to me, because I think Dylan, would be a candidate for potential custody, but I mean, a lot of people, really, I think, feel for Nick. A lot of people did comment too on that thread, or several people did, saying that Adam relinquished his rights to having custody of Christian when he switched those paternity test results. So Adam, even if he was alive, shouldn't have custody. And I think maybe in that mindset sort of negates Chelsea as really having any claim to the child. But I mean, 63% people are overwhelmingly feeling that Nick deserves custody. And I think a lot of people feel terrible for Nick. The fact that he has been deceived all of this time, and then not only that, but the fact that once we twist around the next corner to the next part of this paternity reveal, which is Adam, then Nick is just going to get further hurt. So I thought that might be a good starting point for us to get a question out there for this week's poll. Do you think that Chelsea should just tell Nick that he might not be Christian's father? Is Chelsea doing the right thing by holding back and not wanting to cause any more pain? Or does the truth just need to get out there in full? yrchat.com if you would like to cast your vote and tell me, should Chelsea just tell Nick that he might not be the father, or do you think she should continue to keep it a secret? I mean, it's a tough call because I can see both sides of it. And the thing that keeps sticking in my mind right now is Wyatt really gonna rip that baby out of Nick's arms after all of this when they bring Adam, or if they bring Adam back into the picture? Because all week when I was watching the show, I was thinking, is there any chance, is it at all possible that Nick actually is Christian's father? Is there any chance that Sage was wrong, that Adam was wrong, that someone else interfered, or there was a mistake with the paternity test? Is there any chance that a new DNA test could reveal that Nick has been rightly reunited with his son? Chloe accidentally tells Kevin all about this whole paternity twist, thinking that he knew and Kevin didn't know, and now he's putting together the pieces that this is the big secret that Mariah has been keeping from him for all of these months. So he goes to confront Mariah at GC Buzz in front of a camera while Hilary is watching. She can't hear the sound, but she sees Kevin and Mariah fighting, and she pulls Devon over, asks him to dust off those lip reading skills, and he is able to give her a name, Dr. Anderson, and that they're arguing about something about a baby, and that is just enough information to make Hilary very dangerous. She wants a big scoop, and she goes to the internet, does a little bit of research on Dr. Anderson, finds out Patty was the one who killed her, goes to visit Patty directly to the source, finally asks some direct questions of Patty. Of all the people, Dylan, Paul, who have been talking, the psychiatrists who have been talking to Patty for all of this time, no one has ever really directly freaking asked her about the story or the secret and what happened. Finally, thanks to Hilary, she draws it out of Patty. Of course, Patty thinks she's talking to a lawyer, but very, very swift on Hilary's part. Patty tells the whole story, and Hilary does not waste any time getting this story onto the air. I loved Hilary's intro. She does a live piece exposing this entire secret, and she starts out by saying, how does a woman not know that she's not pregnant, did not give birth, and then when she does find out, she keeps it a secret? I just thought that was such a good way to explain it, because it's what we were all saying during the whole baby switch thing. I mean, it's taken me right back to where I was when all of this craziness was going on. So it was a great, great piece, although poor Mariah was standing there getting back to the office just as this whole thing is coming out, realizing that her mother's life is being destroyed asteroid is imploding in living color for everyone to see. Sharon's ultimate humiliation is being exposed to the world. Mariah couldn't do anything to stop it and now has to stand by while Hilary exploits it. And not only that, but she really can't do anything to stop it. Hilary tries to convince Mariah to go on camera and talk about it, but she's not going to. Although, preview for next week's shows have Sharon walking into GC Buzz and saying that she wants to tell her side of the story, which I think everyone's going to probably try to convince her not to do, but it's kind of great. I kind of like that idea. I think Hilary is probably going to tear Sharon apart, probably eat her up and spit her back out. It's probably not going to work out in Sharon's best interest, but maybe, just maybe, we'll see Sharon given a great explanation of the situation, and who knows, maybe the audience out there, maybe the viewership of JC Buzz will show some surprise support for Sharon. Either she's gonna end up it's either gonna go either way. Either there's gonna be a huge groundswell of opinions that say Sharon should be arrested, and then we are gonna end up having a police investigation and a prosecution for Sharon, or maybe they'll go by the way of a kinder, gentler Genoa City and support Sharon. It's probably not the latter, but I wish it would be. This woman needs some happiness, in my opinion. I guess because I went through it with her and I understand that Sharon is the victim too. I know she lied, of course she lied. But Sharon wasn't the only one who lied about the paternity. Chelsea's currently lying about the paternity. Adam lied about the paternity, and we're gonna focus all of our negativity on Sharon. I mean, for crying out loud, she had the exact same thing happen to her. Who in this town? Nick has lied about paternity. Nick kept a paternity secret about Summer for years. I mean, it's once you start throwing stones, everybody's in a glass house in this town. So there's a part of me that just wants Sharon to, I'm kind of on, Team Noah with the forgiveness of Sharon. By the way, Noah's rant on freedom of the press when a reporter shows up at the underground, might as well have had the Star Spangled Banner playing behind it. They might as well have unfurled a flag behind him as he goes on about the real reason we have freedom of the press and what it should represent. I feel like it was another attempt by Y&R to be topical since it was election week here in the U.S. I feel like they were trying to I don't know, do a political speech or somehow weave that into the story. I think so. That's just my guess. But the whole thing, by the way, with Noah pouring drinks for Travis and just, I don't know, thinking about forgiveness for Sharon just made me think, what about Travis and Sharon? Could that work? I just want these two people to be happy, and I want Travis to sleep with somebody I know. Is the whole thing about the leaked fake documents at Newman Enterprises over and done? Are we done with that now? Because Victor early in the week makes the board member mole guy go to GC Buzz and confess that he falsified the documents and leaked the documents, which actually wasn't entirely true. But Devon realizes after Hilary interviews the guy that he better not just air another story about the Newmans that's unsubstantiated. And then Victor is upset that the story doesn't get aired because that's what he wanted. This whole thing with the leaked documents was supposed to be his key to nailing Jack Abbott. And Victor's not the only one who wants to nail Jack Abbott, by the way. Yeah. I wish I would have known, or I wish I would have at least said out loud that last week after the coffee and the blouse incident, I in my heart of hearts, I thought to myself as Jack rips open Phyllis's blouse with the hot coffee on it, I said in my mind, enter Ashley. I just felt like Ashley should walk in the door just as that was going on. And then sure enough, we pick up on Monday's show and Ashley walks right in the door to find Jack ripping open, having just ripped open Phyllis's shirt. She's standing there in her bra, and I just thought, I should have called that. That would have made me sound so smart. But I didn't. Ashley is super business focused right now. She's really all about Jabot. You know what? I keep thinking too, she would make a good pair with Travis. Why not Ashley and Travis? I've got Travis on the brain to be honest with you. But Ashley she's such a smart, capable businesswoman. She's come up with this new brilliant app called Jabot Go, which will allow you to download the app on your phone and try on Jabot products by uploading a selfie. You can see how you would look in all those lipsticks and eyeshadows. I love it. Where do I get the app? I'm telling you that Y&R keeps launching these things and making me want them, and then they're not available. I want Jabot Go. But it was a really good idea. Everybody's proud of Ashley. And when it comes time to talk about it to the media, she gives complete credit to Jack for coming up with the idea, because she's trying to mask the fact that business is the furthest thing from his mind. I mean, this week, Jack is actually spending less time daydreaming about getting revenge on Victor and more time daydreaming about Phyllis's lips and how sensuous they are. I mean, he's let go of the Victor thing, and it's just all about, I gotta work with my ex-wife now. What am I gonna do? I'm still attracted to her. She's still such a valuable part of this company, but yet he doesn't trust her, and he's been hurt, and he wants to push her away. Ashley's trying to snap him out of it by suggesting that he just gets rid of her, do something, and he kind of tries to go through with transferring and promoting her to a job in New York, which is not gonna work. I mean, you can't possibly think that Phyllis is just gonna pack up and move away without any fight whatsoever. It didn't work. He tries to push her away further, tries to make a compelling argument to her to just leave. They end up having this big argument, which turns into a furious makeout session, which we all knew as viewers that a fight that big was not going to end any other way. As it started to escalate, that's another point where I was just like, they're going to be making out in about 3, 2, 1, boom. Because where there is Phyllis, there is smoke, and where there is smoke, there is fire. Okay, I just have to quickly touch on this because I don't know what to make of it. Kane sprained his knee last week, and Lily forces him to go to the hospital. Stitch tells him he has a torn ACL. He's gonna need some kind of knee surgery, and he agrees to it. He's fine with it, and then all of a sudden he backs out when he finds out that Jabot, the competing company, has launched Jabot Go. He thinks, I can't now. I mean, things are really heating up at work. I can't be out of commission, can't be going to get surgery right now, and so he sneaks back to work, and Lily has to drag him. She has to get Victoria and Billy and her to all gang up on Kane and get him to go get the surgery that he needs. So Kane is now, he's such a workaholic, and I'm wondering, what does this mean? What is the Kane thing adding up to? The only thing I could think this week was, is there any chance that maybe he's going to have the surgery, he's going to be on some pain meds, and maybe he's going to develop a painkiller addiction to go along with his workaholic condition? I don't know. Am I reaching? Is it necessary that I always look for some kind of twist somewhere? Should I read this story as is, just as a tale, or is there more to it? Where are we here? Last week, as Sharon was confessing her whole truth and nothing but the truth to Nick, Nick quipped back at her, "Congratulations, Sharon, you fooled everyone." And that was last week's Who Said It quote. I think quite a few people got that one right. 13 of you caught it. It was an intense scene. I think everybody had their eyeballs on it. So congratulations to Connor, John, Sharita, Henry, Sandra, Edith, Lauren, Tommy, Jen, Nicole, Jasmine, Jamie, and Tanya. All 13 of you got it right. Very, very well done. I have a new quote for you this week if you would like to guess who said this. "Thank God the lies are behind us now." I like that line because we all know that the lies are not behind us now. Do you know who said it? Thank God the lies are behind us now. If you'd like to guess, you can go to yrchat.com and leave it there. If you get it right, then I will give you your props and congrats during next week's YNR chat. Let's crack this Chatterbox and read some of your comments. Lauren at yrchat.com says, "Faith talking about Sully and Christian and that whole thing reminded me. Didn't Ashley think Faith was hers and keep her before they found out the truth and Faith was returned to Sharon? Does Faith know this happened to her?" Yes, Lauren, it happened. I don't think Faith knows. I got a feeling they were like, it would have been interesting if they would have used that as a way to explain it to Faith. Well, Faith, sometimes babies get switched at birth, and who you think is your mommy's not really your mommy, and actually it'll probably happen to you in about 8 years, so prepare yourself. That should have been the conversation that did happen, but I'm glad you brought that up, Lauren, because Gary had brought that up in a voicemail to me too, that it's exactly the same storyline. I'm not sure exactly what year it was, but yes, Sharon was pregnant. She was in Fairview. She gave birth, and it was Adam who stole Sharon's baby Faith and gave it to Ashley to cover up the fact that he accidentally caused her to miscarry a child that she had with Victor at the time. So it's exactly, or very darn close to the same type of storyline, and ironic that it hasn't really been brought up or focused on too much. I mean, Sharon has both had a baby stolen from her and given to another mother, and she has also inadvertently ended up benefiting or taking a child that didn't belong to her. Speaking of Gary, he left me a voicemail also that said, "It's interesting to me that Nick is showing this sympathy toward Sharon." And I'm glad you zeroed in on that, Gary, because I'm thinking that too, and I keep wondering, you know, is it possible that a Nick and Sharon reunion is maybe not quite as far-fetched as we're thinking? I mean, everybody in town seems to be erupting with a visceral reaction toward what Sharon did, and strangely, of all people, it does feel like Nick is really preaching the "let's not be too hard on Sharon" line. Is it because he knows that he himself had kept paternity secrets? I don't know, but I think it's interesting and good that we at least have somebody in town who was on the receiving end of this lie and is still kind of advocating for Sharon. Gary also mentioned, "I see more signs that Sharon and Dylan's relationship is going to go the way of Abby and Stitch, two lost people who can't connect." I think so too. I think Sharon and Dylan are done. I have heard nothing about them recasting that role. So again, I just am wondering if Sharon, as you say, and Dylan are just gonna find that they can't put it back together. What has been done cannot be undone. They go their separate ways. Dylan leaves town. And then is it, possible that maybe Sharon will end up gravitating toward Nick? Sandra at yrchat.com says, you can see the end of Sharon's marriage coming. I had a thought after Nick told Faith he could never hate Sharon. Perhaps Dylan leaves town. Nick once again might cozy up to Sharon, giving her a chance to continue to be a mommy to Christian. Since it seems as though Chelsea doesn't plan on telling the truth anytime soon, that would leave her on the outside looking in. I agree, Sandra. I just keep thinking maybe that's where the transition is happening, that we're going to see goodbye Dylan and Sharon and Nick maybe raising Christian together. Chelsea, of course, is the X factor, and we'll just have to wait and see if that secret comes out, and when it does come out, is it really even true? Connor at yrchat.com says, yes. Victor has mentioned Paris, and the suspicion has begun. With Victor mentioning Paris, as we all know, that's the location where Chelsea and Adam wanted to start over. Is it possible that Adam is making a comeback? More so, it's kind of rude for Victor to say that in front of Nick, knowing he knows who Christian's real father is. Mark my words, people, Adam Newman will return in 2017 and the epic Newman War will begin. I agree, Connor. I think so too. To me, I couldn't ignore the Paris comment. I don't think it was an accident. I think Y&R knew very deliberately what they were doing there. Now, whether or not they did it just to send us fans into a frenzy because they know it works, or whether they do have something on tap here for us. Maybe they've already recast that role. Maybe they've got plans. They could be filming it for all we know. But I agree, Adam Newman will return. That's just my opinion, but that's what I think. Daisy on Facebook says, even though Victor mentioned bringing Christian to Paris, I still think there's a chance that Victor tampered with the DNA and Christian is actually Nick's child. But of course, even if Victor did nothing, someone else could have tampered with the DNA results and or Sage's letter. It could have been Chloe. She had access to the forger. It could have been Ian Ward. He gets around. I still think, though, it's likely to be Victor done to control Adam. Daisy, I'm so glad. I noticed that a couple other people kind of picked up on this, the fact that the paternity twist might just be something that's not going to twist. It might be a red herring. So I'm glad that you picked up on that. It hadn't really occurred to me that Victor might have done the switch. In my mind, I guess I was more thinking it could be some kind of weird accident or something. But then again, in Genoa City, there are rarely accidents. So you may be very well right. And now that you mention it, Chloe could be a contender for that. Edith at yrchat.com also says, I'm not 100% convinced that Adam is the bio dad. The lab tech could have made a mistake or chose to switch the first test results that showed Adam as the father. Who knows? We all know about soaps and paternity tests. However, Christian has never gotten the eye disease like Connor had. Connor had that as a newborn. Christian did have a cowlick like Nick and Faith, which is hereditary. So I'm definitely rooting for Nick, Edith says. That's another little clue that I never would have thought back to about the cowlick. I mean, I don't know if Adam had one or not, but certainly we've all been speculating. I mean, I've heard it with a couple comments this past week that what happens when Christian gets an infection with his eye? Is that going to cause Chelsea to come forth with the truth? Is that even going to happen? I think it's still up in the air. I think that maybe I was taking the whole, Sage's letter, last letter to Adam. I was taking that as truth, and maybe it just wasn't. Maybe Nick is the father, and I'm glad to know that I was not the only one that was thinking that this week. Super Superplex at yrchat.com says, I liked that you mentioned this. Victor threatens Devon with a lawsuit if he decides to include his family in the baby switching story. He's perfectly fine with them going after Sharon, however. How is this even possible? Is Sully supposed to be the product of an immaculate conception? Thank you, Superplex. I was thinking that too. I mean, how are you going to tell the media to go after Sharon no holds barred, but leave Dylan or I think you said Dylan and the baby out of it, or leave Nick and the baby out of it? How is that possible? Very, very good question. T. Nicole says at yrchat.com, as much as I can't stand how Hilary is treating Mariah and everybody else, I'm not gonna lie, for TV entertainment purposes, it's enjoyable to watch. The actress can just pull off that type of character very well. I am enjoying Hilary this week. I think she's vicious, but it's in such an entertaining way. And it is the fact that she is being so vicious does make me wonder how fans are reacting to that, how the YNR fans are reacting to that, because she's really going after Sharon hard. She's just really taking no prisoners. Are you guys liking this version of Hilary? I mean, you know I like it. I guess there's a part of me that wouldn't mind if she pulled it back just a little bit, but it's so much better than seeing her being kind of boring. I mean, I think the dynamic that's going on between Hilary and Devon is really interesting right now, where she is just trying to be off the leash and he is just trying so hard to rope her in. It is very entertaining. And finally, Anna left me a voicemail this past week saying, Victoria and Billy belong together. They're a much better match than Victoria and Travis, and I hope Michelle doesn't stay on the show. I don't like her acting, although she does have good fashion sense, Anna says. I know, I do feel the chemistry between Victoria and Billy. They are very, very cute together. I just felt stuck. I feel stuck on Victoria and Travis. I just think they are very cute, but I am not without knowing that Billy, and especially this Billy and this Victoria, do have some chemistry. And I plucked this out too, because there was something kind of weird about Michelle. There was a couple of her lines as she was saying, like especially in the park scene with Travis, where it seemed kind of unnatural. I felt like Travis's performance in that park scene seemed really normal, and I got a sense of why he was not wanting to go backward, and a full sense of how this woman ruined his life and his career, and now here she is all these years later out of the blue wanting him back. I fully understood his perspective, and there was something about her that just that the actress didn't make me believe it, so I'm kind of glad you mentioned that, and I'm glad I wasn't the only one who saw it. How do you guys feel about Michelle? Should we keep her around or give her the boot? As always, if you guys want to sound off and leave me your feedback and comments about YNR, I love hearing from you. yrchat.com is the website blog where you can leave me your comments and also chat with other fans of the show. You can also, from the website, find the Facebook and the YouTube page, and I read all the comments there. The voicemail number is 309-588-4569. So however you like to feedback, I really like hearing your guys' comments. So I think that kind of takes me to the end of our YNR chat for this week, but we still have one more very important order of business. Did you guys notice that Phyllis and Summer were in the athletic club? I think on Friday's show, they were having a cup of Wisconsin hot chocolate at the athletic club, piled high with marshmallows. I thought that is just too perfect for a week when we are doing a soap giveaway, which includes a big old yummy bar of Wisconsin hot chocolate on the line. So I'm gonna just wrap up our YNR chat. I'm gonna take a little bit of a break, get myself a little snacky snack. If you entered into the Genoa City soap giveaway. Actually, I left the giveaway open through yesterday morning. So if you entered the giveaway, I have gotcha. I've gotcha, you guys. And we're going to do a drawing, and the person who wins the drawing is going to win a soap. So for the podcast and for the video, I'm just going to kind of break. I'm going to take the camera off the tripod, and I'm going to do the drawing, and we'll find out who the winner is. Soap giveaway day is my favorite of all days. I think mostly because I end up putting so much thought and planning and effort and love into these handmade soap bars that when I finally get them into your hands, it's like, yay! Someone else gets to use them besides me. Because let me tell you, I've been enjoying all of these. So if you participated in the soap giveaway for winter 2016, then you got to pick which bar of soap you wanted to enter for. And this season, I made Victoria and Billy, of course, couples, Mariah and Kevin. Even though they're not exactly a couple, I thought these two belonged together. They're a dynamic duo. And then just because I have a sweet tooth and this one's delectable, I remade the Wisconsin hot chocolate soap, and all of these are fabulous, and it seemed like you guys were really excited about them because I got a lot of entries. If you entered the giveaway, then I put your name on these wintry green soap bubbles along with the soap that you wanted to win. Hopefully almost everyone can see their names in there. Some of them are on toward the bottom, but if you're watching the video, hopefully you can see your entry. And what I'm going to do, as usual, is just mix these up and flip them over. And I'm going to pick a winner. I'm going to get them good and mixed. I always get lots of remarks from the peanut gallery about how I should be mixing them. I used to put them in a kind of in a bowl, but then it's much harder that way because I don't want to see any of them at all. I just want to pick. I just want to shuffle them. Maybe that's what I should do. Pick them up, shuffle them, and we'll just see what shakes out. Okay, so I think for this time, I'm going to pick a light green one and a dark green one. So why don't we go with this middle light green one here, because I'm picky, and then let's do a dark green one when we go with that one. These two feel like winners to me. Are you the one whose name is on the other side of this bubble? Let's find out. Which one should we do first? Let's do the light one first and figure out who our very first soap winner is. It is Shakonda! Yay! I know Shakonda, and she picked very well. The Victoria bar is so beautiful and pepperminty. I mean, the fragrance is really good, but I have to say this is probably one of the prettiest soaps that I've ever made, so I'm so excited that Shakonda's gonna get to try that one. Oh, you're gonna love it, especially because it's got some shimmer and shine on top. I mean, shoot, what girl doesn't like a little shimmer and shine, a little pink, a little white, peppermint? It's just a good one. This is probably one of my all-time favorite ones, and really, really good for winter, so congratulations, Shakonda. You won the Bar of Victoria. Yay! Congrats. Okay, so who's the other one? Who is the other winner? Let's find out right now. Here we go. Number 2 is Nicole, who got the hot chocolate. Yes, I actually think this is kind
of perfect because I actually think the hot chocolate and Victoria would go so good together. They look pretty next to one another, and I really like those two. Congratulations, Nicole. Oh my goodness, if you like chocolate, let me tell you, you're gonna love this. I actually have this one in my shower right now. It is delectable. I mean, not only is it chocolate, but it's got just a little bit of a kick to it. So it's a pretty bar and it smells really good. You're gonna wanna eat it, Nicole, but don't. Don't eat it, I must warn you. So wow, yay, these are two really good ones. Victoria and hot chocolate going to Shikanda and Nicole. I'm very, very happy for you two. I will be in touch to get the info so I can give you your prize. Congratulations, yay. And thank you everybody for entering. Of course, I really appreciate all the support and all of the love, and there's gonna be more giveaways, so don't be disappointed if you didn't win. And of course, I also am gonna toss poor old Mariah and Kevin and Billy. They weren't winners, but they did have some fans. I'm gonna toss these guys into the pop-up shop at genoacitysoap.com. If you're dying to have them, you can still pick some up. And sneaky alley over here, you can see I have quite a few extra soaps here. I made them this year in full bars and half bars. So if you just kind of want to try one, it's sort of a nice way to just give a try to any given scent. So I made the full bars, the half bars. I made up some lotions in Mariah and Victoria. Those are really good body creams, especially for winter. And if you are a newsletter subscriber, then you are going to be also participating in the secret giveaway, which is coming next. So if you want to sign up for the newsletter to get in on the next secret giveaway, and if you just want to stay updated on all of my soapy adventures, you can go to genoacitysoap.com to get the soapy scoop. So that's it for this giveaway. Congratulations again to Shikanda and Nicole, and we'll see who our next winner is for the secret giveaway.